Hey, how's it going everybody? And in today's video, we're going to be changing the transmission fluid on a Hyundai Sonata YF. I think the A stands for America, but I could be wrong. If I am, leave a comment down below and let me know. All right, so this covers the years from 2009 to 2014. And the first thing we're going to do is just remove that front panel there, just like that. And then we're going to go to the left rear. So if you have an American version Hyundai Sonata, then it's going to be the left rear panel. But if you're out of the country, then that could be different. So check with your owner's manual. All right, so once we have that panel off, we'll just set it off to the side like that. And now we have access to our transmission. And you can see right there, there's our transmission bolt. And we're going to remove that. But first, I just want to kind of show you our transmission level correction plug. And we're going to come to that later. And here's where we're going to do our filling. So now we are going to remove this racing air duct. Hyundai was so kind to just grace the Sonata with a racing air ram air duct cold air intake. How cool is that? All right, so here is our fill plug, and it's like a fill plug eye bolt. So, and it's plastic. So you want to kind of be careful with that. But we're going to take a 22 millimeter socket, and we're just going to go ahead and remove that bolt just like that. And it's a little tight, so if you want, you can remove your battery. It's not necessary, but you know, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. All right, so one thing I recommend is putting a piece of paper towel around the fill port. It'll just save you if you spill some transmission fluid, trust me. All right, so we're going to put that plug back in the fill hole, but we're not going to tighten it down. All right, so now we're going to remove our transmission plug, our drain plug. All right, and so, you know, keep some paper towels handy with you. I think I forgot, but definitely keep some paper towels handy with you so that you can wipe your hand once that fluid starts gushing out. And right there, you can just see that fluid. It's a nice like maroon color. So that lets you know that the fluid has some mileage on it and it definitely needs to be changed. We're looking for that more like kind of bright pinkish color. All right, so now that we have the transmission fluid completely drained or almost, while it's draining, we're going to take our transmission plug and we're going to clean it. So you see like all that like gooey stuff right there, that's like some metal shavings, but it's not thick metal shavings, and that's our washer. We're going to want to replace that crush washer right there. So let's go ahead and clean that drain plug, or I guess that, yeah, drain plug, and get it nice and ready for the next service life, I guess you could say, however many miles you want to put on your transmission before you change it again. So there, it's all nice and clean right there. And then I'll just kind of clean the top and just inspect the drain bolt just to make sure that the threads look clean and everything like that. All right, so now we're going to take our new washer, and it's important to look for the flat side of the washer. And it's important to also change the washer because you see that little groove on the old washer? Yeah, that can cause leaks. So make sure you change a new washer. Change out your old washer with a new one. And you want to put the flat side facing up. So that's going to be the side that's going to be mating with the transmission. And then the more rounded side can go on the bottom facing the bolts. So that's the orientation you want it. Now just take a paper towel and kind of pat dry the rim of the transmission where the fluid's coming out, and then go ahead and tighten up that bolt with your hands, and then we're going to torque it down after we get it nice and snug. And make sure you just kind of wipe, you know, any kind of residual transmission fluid. All right, so we're going to take a 24 millimeter socket, and we're going to torque this bolt down to 32.6 foot-pounds. I torqued it to 44 foot-pounds. If you have any questions on why, go ahead and leave a comment down below. All right, so now we're going to remove that drain plug and get a long neck funnel and drop it down in there. And we're going to fill the transmission to 4.5 to 5 quarts of transmission fluid. And I believe the transmission takes about 5, but what I've learned is that when you drain it, sometimes a little bit more comes out. So 4.5 to 5 is good. And once you've done all that, then we're going to start the car. All right, so now that we've started the car, we're going to go down and we're going to go to our gear select lever, and we're going to cycle through the gears twice. And we're going to stay in each gear for 2 seconds. And we want to keep the engine running. From this point on, we're going to keep the engine running. Okay, so we're not going to turn the engine off after we finish cycling through the gears. We're going to keep the engine running. All right, so we're going to do this one more time. This will be our second time cycling through the gears, keeping them in each gear for 2 seconds. All right, just like that. Okay, so now we're going to go to our computer and we're going to go to automatic transmission, and then we're going to go to live data, and then we're going to look for oil temperature sensor, which is right there. And you can see right there that it's at 39 degrees Celsius, and the fill range is between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius. So another thing is, if you don't have a computer, you can use a laser thermometer. And I was kind of searching around, and I found that this bottom right-hand corner is the best place that comes the closest to what the computer is reading. So, but it's still off by about, like, I think 10 or 12 degrees Celsius. So you can see right there. But, it's just something. A few moments later. All right, so now we're back, and we're at 57 degrees Celsius. So now we can go and check where our level's at. So here's our transmission check plug, and we're just going to take a 3/8" ratchet without a socket, and we're just going to go ahead and plug it in there and open it up. So now, I don't know, for my car, it's not threaded. It's like a cam locking plug. So you just rotate it 90 degrees and it's going to stop. So don't force it or anything like that. Yours might be threaded, but mine is just a cam lock that you turn 90 degrees and it opens up. All right, so with that open, the engine is still running. You saw how there was no transmission fluid that came out. So we're going to fill the transmission until fluid comes out. But if fluid comes out of your transmission, so if you remove that plug and fluid's coming out, then what you want to look for is a nice steady stream, right? So like that would be maybe too much. That's like right on the border of just right too much. But once you see that stream coming out like that, you'll be able to see it from the top or here. Once you see it kind of trickling like that, that's where you want the transmission. That's when you know that it's properly leveled. It's properly filled. And then we'll just put our plug back in, and it's just hand tight because it's a cam lock. So once it clicks in place, you're good. Wipe up your transmission. And now at this point, once the plug is back in, you can shut off your engine. And we're going to put the plastic fill bolt or eye bolt back into the fill port, and we're going to hand tighten it, and then we're going to tighten it with the ratchet, and we're just going to we're just going to ease up on it. We're just going to slowly creep up on that tightness so that we don't over tighten it. When you feel a little resistance, that's when you want to stop. It's easy to strip that bolt or that eye bolt. All right, so remove your paper towel there. Check to make sure that you didn't leave any tools around and everything looks good. And after that, we're going to put our racing cold air intake supercharged turbo ram air scoop back onto our Hyundai Sonata. And we're just going to put these bolts back on. And after that, then we should be all good to go. And we'll have some fresh fluid in our transmission. And if you want to do this again, you can, to really flush out your transmission. But after that, you're good to go. So thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.